Detroit is Different is where you get information, artistry, history, music, and even comedy. Detroit is Different, a home for the culture of Detroit. Visit online at DetroitisDifferent.com today.
All right, we are in effect. Okay, back in the Detroit is Different podcast studios, and this time this is a special connection to the community movement builders, but more so my brother in arms and one of the people I do a lot of this work when people talk about social entrepreneurship and community efforts. One of the heavy wings of Boots on the Grounds is through Yusef Shakur. And Yusef Shakur is bringing some of his big homies with us. And we know his big homies are the Black Panther Party. And we have one of the original Panthers in full effect from the LA chapter here to bless us in Detroit. We got Harold Taylor. Mr. Taylor, how you feeling today?
That's a beautiful introduction. I'm doing just great.
Okay, all right. So let's get a little bit into the Panther Party because we've heard about it. It's definitely in pop culture. A lot of people romanticize it. We hear a lot of people were down with it. You were actually in it. So
Right.
What led you to the Black Panther Party?
Well, in 1967, 66 is when the party started in Oakland. I was in a juvenile, not a juvenile camp. I was in the county jail in Los Angeles when, in '67 when they marched on the Capitol in Sacramento, California.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all my life I was looking to be affiliated with a group of black men and women that wanted to do something about some of the problems that was in the community and the exploitation of the black community and the police brutality and the opportunity to serve the people and create something on self-defense to let the oppressors know that we wasn't going to lay down and just let them to continue to brutalize and kill us. That we were prepared to take a stand and defend the community by any means necessary. We all looked at ourselves as the nephews of Malcolm X, the nieces and nephews of Malcolm X. And Bunchy Carter was instrumental in the LA chapter. Along with the Freeman brothers, Ronald and Roland Freeman, who recruited me into the party in '67. So I joined the Black Panther Party under the banner of self-defense.
Okay.
Because the Black Panther Party I had joined was the Black Panther Party for self-defense before it just became just the Black Panther Party. And Emmett Till was significant at that time because we all grew up, we were war babies. Most of us were born in the 40s or the late 30s. And we all experienced the 50s and saw how the brutality and murder of Emmett Till and those 4 little girls in Birmingham, Alabama that were blew up in that church back in '63. But still, we all know that Emmett Till died in the late 50s. I think it was 1957. And we were all children at that time. Well, young men. I think I was 12, maybe 11 years old. But at that time, we all experienced the brutality and saw that our fathers and our uncles, what they went through, and a lot of us came together and decided that we wasn't going to have that.
Yeah.
We wanted to change, and we felt like marching wasn't going to get us what we wanted. And we was willing and prepared to lay down our lives in order to protect our community and enhance our community and to build our community and to make it safe for our children to come out and play and to make it safe for the seniors can walk the streets and be able to go to the store without having to worry about getting their purses snatched or getting robbed, being just brutalized and disrespected.
Yeah.
We wanted to clean out all the dope houses in the community, all the ill things that was happening in the black community. We wanted to be able to walk up to them and tell them that we wasn't going to have that anymore. And as of today, the Black Panther Party was making a statement that you're going to have to leave our community and don't come back. And if you're not there to make it profitable for the community as a whole, then you couldn't function in that community.
Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed. We want black power.
All right, we are back in the Detroit is Different podcast studios, and this is a short introduction of a special series being brought from my big homie and my friend, Yusef Shakur, Yusuf Bunchy Shakur, when it comes to this event, because he's bringing some of his big homies, some of the Panthers, in the mix to come to Detroit and connect with Detroit is Different and the Detroit community. So talk a little bit about what this means for you, why you chose to bring some Panthers to the city.
Well, we know Detroit history is relevant of that legacy. You know, we had our own branch of the Black Panther Party. We had the League of Black Revolutionary Workers, the Shrine of Black Madonna, and the Nation of Islam. So that's all. That's in our DNA. That's in our makeup. And me having the ability to meet folks who are outside of Detroit doing that work, you know, and bringing them back. But more importantly, never in my life that I thought I would have had the opportunity to meet folks like that. And because of the work, it put us in a position. And so, you know, meeting them and not only meeting them, but developing a relationship. I think, let me emphasize that, developing a relationship with them and then with me, where we're at a level of comradeship. And so the work that I've been doing has been in the inspiration of what they've done as individuals, but also within the organization. So the best, you know, we always talk about give back. I mean, for me, authentically, the best thing I can give back to my community, those folks like you're in my community, folks I fuck with, is bring folks who fuck with me, who I fuck with, that we fuck with. I mean, in that very authentic way, because you don't, you know, it's family. You don't bring everybody. You don't, it's your family, see everybody, because it ain't meant to be like that.
Yeah. So, can you give a short introduction of the three Panthers, all different backgrounds, all different takes, that Detroit is Different is going to get introduced to?
Yeah, most definitely. You got Yasmin from New York, beautiful sister, very very principled. You got Hurl from the LA chapter, same, witty, and then you got my big bruh, father figure Thuh, and it's through Thuh I met Yasmin, I met her and so many others. And I met Thuh in 2010 at the U.S. Social Forum right here in Detroit. And like I say, you know, he adopted me, you know, as a comrade, and that comradeship developed into like a father-son relationship. Thuh's one of the most principled men outside of my father I've ever met. And so we've always stayed in touch. We continue to do work, not just me and Thuh, but all the others. And so it's just been a beautiful experience, man. Like to know that what you're doing is not in a vacuum. It's part of a larger narrative for the liberation of black people.
All right. So with that introduction, we're going to give you this opportunity to meet some of the Panthers. Thank you so much. And with that, Yusuf, the last thing, where do you see these connections to continue to grow for Detroit and the Black Panther Party?
I think more importantly, man, we got Detroit is Different. We got the Mama Cool House. We have Avalon Village. We have the Shed, and there's a few other folks. General Baker Institute, right? So for me and many of us, we fuck with each other, but sometimes we get in our own work that we get overwhelmed. And so my intention is, hey, you know, since I fuck with you and what you do is different than what I do, building this ecosystem, sharing our resources, connecting the dots. I mean, you have a studio. Let's interview. Let's archive that. Right, and so when you do something, we do it over there at the Mama Cool House. We do it at the Shed. Now we're intentionally building a network. We're building this new underground railroad system that's sharing resources, that's building our economy, that's developing our political framework, but pulling the history of where we was from. Because history is not in the past; it's in the present. So the ability to touch folks, but again, you can bring anybody from the past, but are you bringing the right people that's saying the right shit? That just ain't living in the past off their prestige, but living off of the ability of their principles to continue to want to make a difference. And so I think this is what, for me, this moment is. And we have the opportunity to connect the dots and to build this some type of ecosystem that is bigger than any individual institution. And I just concluded on this. Like if tomorrow, if the Mama Cool House closes, I think that's a blow to Detroit is Different. If Detroit Different closes tomorrow, I think that's a blow to the Shed. Like we all need each other to survive, even though we're doing things differently. But like, cause you can't serve all black people in Detroit. I can't. However, collectively we can serve black people, and we can serve them differently. We need our alternative media. We need a alternative space to buy books. We need an alternative space to host and come together. These are what these different entities work, but under the umbrella of love and support of black people.
Definitely. So thank you so much. Check this information out. Peace.
What we about to do?
About to do my natural hair show.
Ooh, it's going down, y'all.
This fall at the Andy again.
Fall 2021. Don't want to miss it.
I'm so excited. We're looking for the love, the energy, and the
styles, the spirit, the everything that makes us what we are.
Yes, my natural hair show 2021 at the Andy. Be there or be 7. I forgot the square.
So connected to that, let's talk about the scene and what led to the environment in and around there, because there are some historic cities in this pantheon of what we call American history.
Right.
In Los Angeles, when we think about what the 20th century meant, and especially in like 1940s, that's a different type of LA that was getting settled. The neighborhoods, the people, but especially that call to action of the black folks that went west.
Right.
Far west to LA.
Big migration.
So what was it like in and around there? You speak about the police brutality, but just the tone. What was the community? Where were the people from? What was the neighborhood like in LA that you remember that you were growing up in? And at that point in time, what was bringing together the like minds of young brothers and sisters such as yourself?
Okay. That's really good. The Los Angeles I grew up in is that right after the World War II, the big migration came where jobs were opening on the West Coast. And before the war, when they was building a lot of war material, jobs were there. And mostly the white Americans in California were all in the military. They had left and a lot of jobs became open. And my mother was working in factories, military factories, building war supplies and stuff like that. Well, it was a different kind of LA because the migrants were like from Louisiana. You know, if you ever look at the history of the Black Panther Party, most of us, our parents come from Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. And the community was always concentrated on each one, teach one, each one take care of the other. They say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it took the whole community to raise us all. Everybody was somebody's aunt or uncle or somebody's mother, grandmother. We looked out for each other.
And for the people listening, what were those neighborhoods where black folks were at? Because, I mean, just even in my lifetime, it seems like L.A. has completely changed over. Like
completely.
My sister and cousin are in Inglewood, and even that I see changing. Where were black folks at? What were the streets in the neighborhood?
Okay. Central Avenue, brother. 41st and Central, say from downtown Los Angeles down Central Avenue, which was like Harlem. It's like Harlem back in the day. Central Avenue was the hub. The best description I can give you of Central Avenue is a movie that was made called Devil in the Blue Dress with Denzel Washington.
Yeah,
That
I've
movie
seen that.
depicted Central Avenue the way I remember it as a child, when my uncles used to take me to Central Avenue, or my mom would take us up to the shop. We had theaters. I mean, you had dime stores, you had black businesses all over the community. We were pretty much isolated because all you had was Central Avenue and Watts. We were concentrated in those areas. There was no Compton. When I was a kid, Compton was a giant orange grove. We used to go over there to have orange fights, throwing oranges at each other. And it was nothing there, just a bunch of orange groves.
So Watts,
And
Central Avenue was the precipice
Right.
of that black community. And you talk about Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, further out west, as we know, like I tell people, the train lines. Because
Right,
some
right,
people
'cause
out west would go Chicago, St. Louis, and, the people here in Detroit, there's a lot of Georgia, Alabama,
Yeah, you
further
like,
east.
I noticed mostly back in those days in the cities, it's always railroad tracks that divided communities. The white community was on one side of the tracks, we were on the other side of the tracks. And we were forbidden to go across it, the white community.
And when you talk about that, you talked about police brutality being one of those reasons.
Right.
And as that quote unquote West was being settled,
Right.
a lot of those, as we call them, the adage, and now we talk about it almost like it's a joke, but sundown towns and a lot of those laws
Right,
out west
right.
were definitely very oppressive towards black people
Yeah.
and other people of color, but especially black people.
They used to have a sign on the Alameda going into Southgate, which was the white community. It had a sign up right there by the railroad track that says, white folks come through here moving fast, niggas come through here hauling ass. So don't let the sun catch you over here, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they used to call them, spook hunters. They would come across the tracks at nighttime and try to find isolated groups of black people to attack, harass, and terrorize. This is how gangs formulated in Los Angeles.
Wow.
It was more like social clubs than gangs, but was mainly designed to protect ourselves against the spook hunters. They had gangs back in the days like the Orientals, the Egyptians, the businessmen, the Del Vikings. They had different gangs in different parts of town or LA, but we were all on the east side. Inglewood was a white community. We weren't even allowed in Inglewood.
Wow.
Only time you can go in the white community if your mother, your father worked over there and was carrying a rake or carrying lawnmowers to go cut white folks' grass.
Huh.
To go clean white people's houses. It was always, what are you doing over here, nigga? So that was before the Watch Riot in 65. After Malcolm X was killed in 65, the big change came in L.A.
Yeah.
Because people seem to forget that just a few months after Malcolm was killed, the Watch Riot came about in 65 in August.
Mm-hmm. And we hear these stories, I'm from Detroit, but I'm just a fan of history, definitely Detroit's history, but black history as well. And we hear these stories and even that relationship that some of these historic, staunchly Republican and conservative idealists, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, and their families were all followed in this model of racism that was built from a lot of those LA politics then.
There you go. That's when, like in 65, Ron Karenga came about in 66. It's funny how US organization was formed around the same time the Black Panther Party was formed. The Black Panther Party was formed in Oakland in 66. Ron Karenga and US organization formed in LA in 66.
Okay.
Right after the Watch riots.
So just, I guess, moving paths as you're getting older and you're a part of the Panther Party.
Right.
And at this time in the late 60s, a lot of things and consciousness is changing across the nation. But what were the connections of the brothers in Oakland to come to LA to formulate a chapter? Because this isn't like, it's not the, this isn't like the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or something. Like, I mean, what was the formulation? How was the trust built? How did the Black Panther Party decide to say, okay, a chapter in LA is needed? And then furthermore, well, let's just start there. How did the LA chapter start?
Okay, that's beautiful. Because it's a beautiful thing. It wasn't so much that the Oakland Central Committee in Oakland came to LA to form a branch or chapter. It was Bunchy's idea. Him and Eldridge Cleaver were together in prison.
Okay.
And they had formulated a group called the Mau Mau, which they all took an oath to support and defend the black community. And him and Eldridge had planned to formulate this organization when they got out of prison. Well, Eldridge got out first. Eldridge got attracted to the Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
while he was up in San Francisco working for Rampart magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when Bunchy came out, he hooks up with Eldridge. Eldridge tells Bunchy about the Black Panther Party. Bunchy didn't know much about it other than what he read or what he was hearing because he was in prison.
Yeah.
Well, he wanted to continue to formulate the organization they had talked about in prison. But then Bunchy decided that he would go along with the party, and he requested that he create a chapter in L.A.
Wow.
And the party agreed to it. It was Huey, Bobby, David Hilliard, and a few other people. Big Man, Big Man was still was in the party at the time. Little Bobby Hutton. Mm-hmm. They agreed to let Bunchy do this, and Eldridge. Well, when Bunchy came back to home to L.A., he started going through his old group. He used to be leader of the Slausons from Slauson Village. Mm-hmm. The Renegades of Slauson was Bunchy's gang. Mm. It was one of the biggest gangs in L.A., and Bunchy was the leader of that gang. And Bunchy had he had the credentials and the credibility and the respect of the community.
So the street soldiers already were walking with Bunchy.
Always. Bunchy
Bunchy's validation of the Panther Party more so validated the Panther Party in L.A. more so than it was the Panther Party in Oakland validating Bunchy to say, all right, the L.A. people interested in the Panthers can join him. It was like, all right, I have the troops. I have the soldiers with me.
Already got them. I'm already there.
And I see what you guys are doing.
Mm-hmm.
How did the LA chapter decide to move forward with business, knowing that the Oakland chapter had its affairs and other chapters would do things different ways? I'm learning more about what the Detroit chapter was doing. Mm-hmm. How did you all go about your business differently than like the Oakland? How did the LA Panthers engage with the community?
Okay, first of all, you got to understand that Bunchy Carter, apprentice Bunchy Carter, very disciplined man. He was a man of principle, and he believed in discipline and self-discipline and strength and working from a position of strength. And his way of organizing the community is that you must develop the sensitivity to the needs of the community. Mm-hmm. We got to find things that's what's wrong in the community and what the people want. In other words, we're not going to shove nothing down the people's throat. We need to go to the people and ask them, what do you want, what do you need, and what's important, what are your priorities?
Okay.
So what Bunchy would do is that first, when the party first started in L.A. at the Black Congress, which was a bunch of different organizations in L.A. in one big building. Mm-hmm. Even the US organization was in there, the NAACP, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SNCC, everybody's in this one big building. Well, Bunchy wanted to strike out of there and get our own building so we could be independent of all
the other organizations.
Bullshit that was going on.
Yeah.
All right? And what we did is establish our own office, and we went to the community with clipboards. And he broke it up into sections, L.A. Section 1A was my section, was the first section in L.A. Well, if you lived in Section 1A, you had a map where you divided the city of Los Angeles. So you had 4 sections, 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. Mm-hmm. 1A was the first chapter. Branch, really.
Yeah.
That was my branch. And I lived down the street from that. We opened the office on the corner. What we did is he gave us all clipboards and notepads, legal notepads, yellow paper, right? Mm-hmm. And go through the community, knock on doors.
And you guys are soldiers, so
this
is
these
organizational skills, because this is canvassing. I'm gonna throw out like the jargon on top, because that's usually what when I say these words. The words can definitely trip people up in that vocabulary, but you're touching the people. But they call that canvassing and engaging. Yeah. But you got some street soldiers that's really out here doing this.
But before you could do that, see, this is what made Bunchy such a great organizer. He had a program. You could not go out there and talk about the Black Panther Party unless you knew the 10-point program, the rules of the party, right? Be able to explain it. Okay? Mm-hmm. You had to be able to say what we want. Basically, if you ever look at the 10-point program, it's almost the same thing as the Nation of Islam has on the back of their newspaper.
Yeah.
So we borrowed from them because they were good points and things that we could use. His thing was that you could not educate the people if you're not educated yourself. So we had to have political education classes. Bunchy would insist that you read certain books and give him a book report.
What books?
Franz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth. A must-read was the autobiography of Malcolm X. Different things on colonialism as far as in Africa.
Yeah.
The revolution in Algiers. The Battle of Algiers. That was a film they made on the Battle of Algiers. But they also had books. Fanon had The Wretched of the Earth with Blackface, White Mask on colonialism in Africa. We had to learn different geography. We had to learn the geography of our city. We had to be able to go to anybody, any neighborhood in the community and explain the same thing that's been explained to them by different people from different chapters. We had to have one program. None of this, you could not add what you wanted to do with it. You had to do what we had already set up, what works. And the main thing was find out what is needed in the community and start working on those things. Like, for instance, it was black women in my community, the seniors. I'd like to be able to go to the store without worrying about my check being taken from me when I come out of the store before I go in. We start posting people out and sending people to go pick up people, to go take them to cash their checks, to take them to the store. And we notified and put them on we let people know, the people in the community, I'm talking about the thugs and the thieves, that these are our people and you're not going to be able to do this no more. The drug dealers, we did the same thing with them. We made it safe for kids to come back out and play. We took back over the parks so kids could go play in the parks, but people weren't afraid to walk the streets. Well, we drew a lot of attention, but what really got us is when the breakfast program came about.
Yeah.
Designing that breakfast program, which was how Bunchy laid it out for us. There were numerous stores in the black community, different groups that come in to the United States from different countries. First thing they would do was come into the black community and open up their stores and take all the resources from the community and take it and build their community.
Still happening today, Sam.
Today.
Yeah.
We saw that.
Yeah.
And Bunchy said, hey, you got to make a contribution. So we go to the stores and ask them, hey, we'd like to get a couple of dozen eggs from you once a week. Can you handle that to help the community? You're making money, get something back.
Yeah.
We never had any arguments about that. You had some people that would donate maybe a crate of eggs.
Yeah.
Somebody would do a case of milk. Somebody would do oatmeal. Somebody would do grits. Somebody would do meat. And we would have set it up where we'd make a circle on a map. And we would pick up all of that food.
Yeah.
But we'd also go to the churches in the community and get used to their kitchens, right? And convince them that we'll clean up behind ourselves.
Yeah.
And there won't be nothing going on. Everything is legit. And we would put petitions out, letting people know we're establishing this breakfast program for the community to come and the kids can go to school and eat.
And that's why I know me personally, and I think many others are so inspired by the work of the Black Panther Party, because you all were so young, so organized, so driven, and so focused. And you were experiencing that. And then in this organization, as you're engaging people around political education, the truth about the white supremacy that exists, the Panther Party is now infiltrated with dealing head on with this American government targeting the Panther Party and to destruct, corrupt, and break down with chaos and confusion people that are just community organizers.
See, but you got to look at it, brother. We all are products of our conditions. Conditions dictate what we do. The conditions that we were forced to live up under dictated what we were going to do. And at 19 years old, you ain't got sense enough to be afraid of nothing. Okay? And me and people like me, we wasn't afraid. We never expected to live past 25. You got to understand, Bunchy Carter died at the age of 26. All right? Now you look at Fred Hampton, 21 years old, a genius. All right? We were motivated by the needs of our people. You know, my uncles took me when I was a kid and taught me how to be a man, directed me towards Malcolm X, W.B. Du Bois, you know, books like that, things that to the effect of Paul Robeson, how great he was. That's in the 30s and the 20s.
Yeah.
You know, Marcus Garvey, how great he was.
Yeah.
I mean, my uncles were Garveyites.
Wow, that's deep, because when I think of the government, and they still really suppress that story of what Garveyites
And how
and the movement of Marcus Garvey and what the UNIA was, but that was really the inception of when people wonder why I have such a strong problem against the FBI.
COINTELPRO.
COINTELPRO, but more so just it's against the whole idea of being innocent till proven guilty, because they establish who a target is and say we're going to track whoever these people are and their family, their friends, and everything they do until we bring this person down. The FBI does not do business in the standings of what America says is legal grounds, because you are completely guilty.
Brother,
they establish you as a target and you're guilty.
I'll be 73 years old in December. Okay? I know about the FBI through COINTELPRO. I've had experience with them in most of my adult life.
Yeah.
In 1971, I was set up by the FBI in the COINTELPRO program.
Wow.
Where me and two other brothers were set up to be assassinated. Where they lured us into a position where they attacked us and shot into a car over 250 times, shooting all of us. They shot me 6 times. My other comrade, they shot him about 5 to 6 times. Another one that shot him in the back. We all lived.
Ain't that something?
They drug us out of this car and we all lived. And I went to trial for that. I got found not guilty. I had 6 counts of attempted murder on the police. I got found not guilty. It took me 4 years to win that case.
Wow. What attorney?
A lady, a female. Her name was Beth Livesey. She's passed away now.
Okay. Well, rest in peace. And
I started off with Johnny Cochran, but I fired Johnny Cochran.
Why you fired
Johnny Cochran was
Cochran?
I love Johnny.
Yeah.
You know, and I told him, I said, you know, JC, man, I love your work, but you can't handle this case and Geronimo's case too.
At the same time.
It's too much, you know, because it went so deep. It goes in other areas. Because this T-shirt I got on, it says "Free to San Francisco 8."
Yeah.
Okay, that's me and 7 of my comrades got indicted, not indicted, but charged with a murder that happened in 1971 on a police officer on a raid where a group of black men went into a police station and shot it up and killed a police officer.
Yeah.
And they looking for these people for over 40 years, 30 years. They come to the conclusion that I was involved, that's what they say, and me and a group of brothers. And they came and arrested us for this murder in 2007.
Wow.
I lived in Florida. I had to leave the state of California to go to Florida to keep a job, to take care of my family, because the FBI came on every job I ever had and told my employer, he's a communist, he's a racist,
and that's
he's a terrorist.
Level. That is the business of what this, and that's the
what
federal
they do.
government.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And I mean, even my employer, you're a good man, Harold. Love your work.
And how old are you? In 2007? How old are you?
50-something years old.
50-year-old man.
57 years old.
57
well, wait a minute.
years old.
The oldest brother's in his 70s. Hank Jones. All right? I'm the baby of the group. But I know these brothers, man.
Yeah.
And I had seen half of them in 30 years.
Wow.
They put us all together. Brought Cisco from New York. Brought me from Panama City, Florida.
Huh.
Brought Richard Brown from San Francisco. Hank Jones from Pasadena. Ray Boudreaux from Altadena. Richard O'Neill from San Francisco. And put us all together. And I hadn't seen these cats in years.
Yeah.
And they said, we'll put them together. Somebody will talk.
And this is these are the tactics of this government.
We win this case.
Now, with that, the work today, and you saw the organizing. How do you connect to the soldiers today? Yusef just texted me as we get closer to the end of our interview, but I definitely, we gonna share some more.
We got to talk. I got a lot to talk for you, baby.
But like the Nipseys and the Codys,
Nipsey Hussle. I saw that picture down there.
How do you connect to the soldiers of today? And where's the mindset when you look at what's happening today, and then the work that you're still doing, and then even reaching out to Bunchy here, reaching out to Yusef Shakur in places like Detroit, and even sitting down with a brother like me that you just met.
Right.
I
have no problem with that. I mean, like minds have a way of finding themselves and finding people with like minds.
Okay.
All right? Because I live in the desert. I can't live in the inner city because of my state of mind. We all suffer from post-traumatic syndrome. All right? Oh, man. I was beaten and tortured in New Orleans. I was captured down there. But anyway, that's another story. But there's hundreds of those kind of stories that pertain to black men back in the days. Now, you talk about my relationship with young black men today.
Yeah.
Is that I admire them, but I abhor the insensitive ways they have about dealing with the people. The needs of the people. We had messed around and put the party ahead of the people. We got full of ourselves and started loving our leaders and forgetting about the people we work for. Never forget who you work for. I work for the people. When the split in the party came, I told him, I don't work for Huey Newton. I don't work for Bobby Seals. I joined the Black Panther Party for self-defense. I'm a servant of the people. I work for the people. Not individuals, not egos, not come see me. I never wanted to be popular. I just wanted to do that work. Wow. I wanted to put in the work that needed to be put in order to enhance and build this organization that's going to protect our people.
So when we think about that, like Monster Cody, and Nipsey. So Monster Cody, what's the story between the relationship you all have?
I never met him, nor did I meet Nipsey Hussle, but I knew Nipsey's mentor, who was my comrade, Roland Freeman. Roland Freeman was the head of this organization that took juveniles from the courthouse, young black men, that were supposed to be incorrigible. Nipsey Hussle was one of those kids. He would go to juvenile hall when other people would give up on these kids and let them go into the system, end up in the California Youth Authority. Next thing you know, they're in the prison system. All right? Nipsey was saved by Roland. Him and numerous young black men. He went to him because it's stuff that he learned in the party.
And that enlightenment and just knowing how to relate to the soldiers.
Information is a raw material for new ideas. All right?
Yeah.
And education, you have to circulate that information. And education was key. That's what the Black Panther Party newspaper was about, to educate. Even through Emery's drawings, that was an educational piece.
Deep.
All right?
Deep.
And we were young. And we understood what was happening around us. And being able to break it down on why things are like they were, because the average young black man and woman don't know why things are the way they are. There's a history behind it. Don't tell me you do research because you got all your fucking excuse me.
Oh, no, you could, hey, this is...
You got all your information from YouTube or Google. You You got to do that research.
Yeah.
You got to read.
Yeah.
You got to go to the library. You got to seek out people to do those interviews.
Yeah.
Don't give me sound bites. I don't want that. Where did you get that sound bite? And where's the root of that sound bite? Where did it come from? Who started it? You know? Don't bring a subject up that you can't totally explain. Okay?
Yeah.
And call that you educate me. Hey, I love talking at you. I know we short.
Yeah, I want you to, if people want to get in contact with you, how do they go about getting in contact with you and reach out and get some more of this game that you're giving and support
I'm
some of your
available,
content?
brother. I'm available.
Okay.
You know, my name, CDHRHT at, I just got this damn, at iPhone. No, it's
Is it
iPod.
Okay.
iPod.com.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna definitely have that on the screen too, so people know how to connect.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
connect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And you one of the three that Yusef done connected me with, and it's good, man. It's powerful.
Yeah, Arthur downstairs. I met him in 1969.
Oh man, that's a
All right.
lifetime friend.
Yeah, right. Well, we all cut from the same cloth. When they brought me to San Francisco on this murder charge in 2007, all right? They take me to San Francisco, but in the middle of the night, they take me out of that jail and take me to another jail, San Mateo, which is not in the county of San Francisco. It's a whole different city. But my charge in San Francisco, they divided us and separated us so we couldn't talk, okay? And we all go to the hole. I mean, it's like taking me from my front door, out my living room,
Yeah.
and take me. I got booked in jail, not through the booking procedure, but from my cell in the hole.
Wow.
They came and took my pictures, took all of that. And I hadn't seen these cats in 30 or 40 years. But when we get together, it's like yesterday. It's like when they got me to San Francisco, one of the first people that came to visit me was Arthur Lee. And I hadn't seen him in almost 40 years.
Wow.
And I didn't even recognize my brother. All right?
Yeah.
And all we did was rekindle.
That's powerful.
All right? I'm going to let y'all talk.
Thank you so much.
I'm available, man.
Thank you.
Black revolutionaries, distillery owners, Italian fashion retailers, and Motown Grammy winners all share their best stories never before told in any other media outlets on Detroit is Different. Visit DetroitisDifferent.com or download the Detroit is Different app on Apple's App Store or Google's Play Store.